Hi, ZsaZsa checking in again to talk about dogs and trust. Obviously I can't talk for too long because probably people would get bored to listen to me talking for too long. But the things that I think are important to mention when it comes to trust with dogs is that, first of all, dogs do need a leader. They need a leader who is calm, who is consistent, who is respectful, who is trustworthy, who is kind, who doesn't mess about with them, somebody that they can rely upon. So, you know, things that are important to dogs, for instance, are that they get to go and have a nice walk, that they have dinner. I mean, food is very important to dogs, and that when you say something, you're going to follow through with it. Now, if you remove all fear from yourself and you're very, very present, you're very grounded, you're going to help your dog to feel grounded and safe. And that's really what they really want, is to feel safe. So sometimes I look at some of the training techniques people use and I think to myself, how is that actually installing trust into your dog? You know, when you trust somebody, they're not going to do things to you that's going to upset your trust. They're going to always do things that are going to make you feel safe and secure. So when you get a new dog, and say for instance that dog might have some issues, first of all, you would not have got that dog if you didn't have some sort of corresponding vibratory frequency going on in yourself as well, because like can only attract like. So there's got to be something going on within you that you need to work through, because otherwise you wouldn't have attracted that dog. So you attracted that dog for a reason. And if they have got issues, you can't just think that, oh, you know what, I'll just let the dog just sort it all out and it'll be fine. You know, that might work for some people if they're very lucky in some occasions. But in general, if a dog has had a lot of trauma and has been kept away from other dogs, not been able to socialise, not been able to have access to food, access to go out for walks, to ground energies, opportunities to do things that are play-like and enjoyable for a dog, that dog needs time. That dog needs time to adjust and to recalibrate the energies within the dog. And whilst the dog recalibrates the energies within themselves with your help, it gives you an opportunity to really be true to your word, that you are going to be very respectful of that dog. When you bring food, you're not going to say, oh, you know what, here it is, take it away, here it is, take it away, like some crazy people do. You're going to give your dog the food and honour your dog. Here's your food, I love you, enjoy your food, may it nourish you, may it make you feel really good. And when you have a consistent approach, and when you're fair, and when you're calm, and you're doing things from the heart, you don't have to worry about all of this, oh, I've got to be all dominant and all like over my dog, because that's just a myth. That's just totally myth-like. It's not real. Respect is a two-way thing. If you want respect, you must give respect. If you want your dog to trust you, you must trust your dog. And if you ask your dog to do something, you must be consistent and you must follow through. Now, I'm not suggesting that you're going to ask your dog to do things that are just ridiculous, but there are certain things a dog needs to know to do. A dog needs to know to stay still. I use stop as a command. I don't use loads of commands, but where you have traffic, and I live on a fairly busy road, you need to know how to get your dog to stop immediately. And my dog will. The other thing is, of course, cyclists. When I'm walking along the prom, I need to make sure that my dog's not going to walk in front of a cyclist and harm the cyclist and himself at the same time. So there are certain things that you know, it's important to teach your dog commands. A few to keep them safe. Imagine if you have a little child, your duty is to keep that little child safe. You're not going to let that child cross the road by themselves, and you're not going to allow your dog to cross the road by themselves. So there are certain things that you must teach your dog, and that comes from being a good leader. And a good leader is not somebody who's all bossy. A good leader is somebody who leads by example, somebody who is very fair, very consistent, very loving, because you can then trust them. You know where they're coming from. And when they say they're going to do something, they do it. So, yeah, it's very important to always be consistent. And don't go out with your dog if your dog has got issues of fear and everything else. If you're feeling not at all, you're feeling out of whack yourself. Because what's going to happen then is you're going to not feel, your dog's not going to feel safe. It's not going to feel secure. And so if there is any likely problems to come up, they're likely to come up when you're not in control of your own self. This means we have to be so very present. But this is good, because dogs help us to ascend. They help us to become better people. They help us to grow in our own awareness. But the most important thing is to trust your dog, and your dog will trust you. Your dog will look at you more when you begin to trust them. So if you want eye contact from your dog may not give you that eye contact and say, you know what, I want to work with you, if they don't respect you, if they don't trust you. A dog that respects their leader, who is generally their guardian, and I don't mean leader in a way that is something above, because that's not what it is. It's a partnership, it's a relationship, it's a good close friendship. They're going to be looking to you like, is this good? Have I done the right thing? Is this all right? And when they're doing that, you have an opportunity to teach them more. Because when they're not looking at you, they're not interested. They don't hate, because dogs don't hate. But they have closed down that side of themselves which is interested in cooperating with you, because for whatever reason there's no trust, there's no relationship, there's no respect there. So when people say, oh, my dog doesn't listen to me and everything else, well then you need to work on ways to build up your trust, because that's one of the first things you really have to do things that build trust. How are you going to get more trust from your dog, and how are you going to prove that you trust in your dog? Now, if your dog has done something that's not so great, you're not going to be able to just like go and say, oh, you know what, I trust you, you've just bitten old Bert's finger, but I'm going to trust you, I'll let you off. You have to be very wise about things. You have to allow time for the vibration to change. But you cannot keep a dog chained up on a lead for the rest of their lives just for biting Bert's finger once. That is not how trust works. You know, people go to prison, but they come back out. People make changes. You know, and generally when a dog does something like that, it's not like they've done it to be vindictive or to be awful. They've done it because they have been so super stressed that it's just been a release. It's been their grounding of energy. And we can change that. So put in the hands of the right type of training methods, heart-based training methods such as canine flow methods, you can make positive changes to any dog and to the people as well, provided, of course, the people are ready to want to make that change. If they're not, then it's not really going to work out, because there's only so far you can go. Of course, you know, canine hypnotherapy and things like that is really, really beneficial. Meditation, very, very beneficial. But trust is really important. Trust is the foundation for all relationships. And the more you trust in your dog, the more you give opportunities for them to trust you, the better your relationship will be, and the more you will grow in awareness with one another. And that's a really beautiful thing, and that's how it should be. It should all be from the heart with a lot of love and completely devoid of all fears. So, trust, lots of love, and thank you very much for watching. Bye from me, ZsaZsa, and I'm just going to put the camera on my very special business partner, the Reverend Boo Boo, who is currently sunbathing. There he is. There he is. Thank you.